A verbal clash has begun between the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, and defense lawyers representing incarcerated dancehall artist Vybz Kartel.
In fact, there's a nice thing in the order when the king signed it that says pay the man them money for their legal fees that they wasted.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
What is up, my people? Welcome back to ENQUIRY TV, and we have some updates as it relates to the Vybz Kartel court case. Now, his lawyer, Mr. Isat Buchanan, went on the Fix podcast. Big up to the Fix, and he had a lot to say. Specifically, he actually made a statement and said the UK Privy Council Court of Appeal has made a written statement that Vybz Kartel and the co-accused should be compensated for all legal fees that they paid the lawyers. My people, Isat Buchanan had a lot to say. Before we jump into the details, I really appreciate if you guys leave a like on this video and also subscribe to this channel so that way you won't miss out on the latest updates. Now let's go.
And I'm still answering the question that you asked me, is that it is our right to assess the situation and make a determination what she wants to do, and just as it is the defense's position to defend.
So you think that if a retrial takes place,
not gonna happen, but go ahead, hypothetically,
if a retrial takes place, I mean, it wouldn't. Wait, but this will lead me to our next question. When you say hypothetical, what I mean? So what's the best case scenario for you guys?
What's the best case scenario?
Yeah.
You mean what's the only case scenario?
Or what's the only case?
I'm not trying to try the case in public.
Right.
Save and except to say that in using the Constitution, and that's why I said the question to ask, if at all, there are several issues. So generally, you have delay. Our courts have already pronounced that 8 years is a long time. They have been locked up for 13 years. Availability of witnesses. Is the witnesses available?
Right.
And we're not just talking about the material witness. We're talking about officers who have retired, whatever. And then what of the evidence?
Right, the preservation of evidence.
What about publicity? What about the prospects of having a fair
Well,
hearing?
that was literally going to be my question. If a retrial takes place, how is it? Do you think that it would be fair for everyone charged?
Just the judges in their wisdom will be able to answer that.
Okay.
Because naturally, from where I sit, I am going to say no.
So you can't. So you don't want a retrial. That's what it sounds
It's not going to happen.
So would it then be? Would he be then released on time serve, or would it?
No. He's not. There's no time. There's no time. In fact, there's a nice thing in the order when the king signed it that says pay the man them money for their legal fees that they wasted. So it's a matter for the public if you want to use the taxpayers' money and your KFC money to pay to see another trial, so that defense lawyers and prosecutors can dress up every day and get a lot of media attention at the expense of men who need to get their freedom.
So you bring up the...
I hear that, my people. There's a nice fat writing from the kings that stated that these guys, Vybz Kartel and the co-accused, should be compensated for all legal fees that they spent on this case. And we are talking about years of legal fees. My people, tell me what you think about that in the comment section. He also speak about the tainted jewelry, because there's a lot of people getting it twisted, and I've been saying that the tainted jewelry is stemming from the defensive side of the Vybz Kartel side, as me I say. But Isat Buchanan actually explained every single thing plain as day so everyone could understand.
Even if that law was in place in Jamaica, it still would not have applied to the cartel matter. Here's what I mean. The Privy Council has made it clear that when it comes to the defendants in this matter, Kartel and others, there's no evidence that they tampered with the jury. Jury tampering is an external exercise, and so you have to see that the poison came from outside that would have tampered. What we have in the Kartel situation is 11 people in a room. One of them say we're paying you and we don't know where the money coming from, who is doing the bribe, what's doing the bribe.
But there's evidence of poison.
Internally, no.
You say where the poison come from?
Right. Yeah. So what would have happened, even if the legislation was as is in the UK, where a judge can discharge a jury and it's judge alone. There, it would have to be upon proof, because a defendant should not be able to benefit from his being the author of the poison. But if you can't show or prove that they had something to do with it, you would simply have to discharge the jury and start again, which should have happened in this situation.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm glad how him clear up that, because a lot of people been saying that the tampering of jewelry is coming from Vybz Kartel side, you see me I say, and that's not the case. Them actually have zero proof of where the tampering of the jewelry coming from, you see me I say. So I'm glad how him clear it up right here. So Mr. Isat Buchanan also speaks about PJ Patterson and his interjection into this whole situation. Check it out.
Our very erudite former Prime Minister, PJ Patterson, says nothing new under the sun. And he put out a press release just today. And he said in 1983, Michael Manley and the Gleaner Company was a lawsuit where the jury had to be discharged, and Justice Zaka says once there's a poison, you have to discharge and start over.
Yeah. But
so let us not think that we went to the Privy Council and something novel and something new happened.
Right.
Fair trial rights, a recognition of constitutional rights, is all that was solidified by this judgment. What is clear from the judgment is that you have no opportunity to negotiate fair trial right. You cannot gamble a person's constitutional right. You cannot gamble due process. That's a fair hearing by an impartial jury within a reasonable time. No question. So while it is that you can say, I am a defense lawyer, and I say, oh, nothing wrong, man, come, me don't want to do over the trial here, so yeah, make we proceed. And the DPP says, well, she's not a DPP, but if a prosecutor said it without conferring with the constitutional creature, which who sits in that chair would be the current DPP. When you are bound by the constitution in that part, you don't get the opportunity to gamble.
So it's really a basis. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's really a situation of technicality and not necessarily innocence, but it's just a technical thing.
The thing about it is the constitution says you're cloaked in the presumption of innocence.
Okay.
You can't be stripped of that. So you see, you have to watch Avatar and Dragon Ball Z, and you have to have an imagination. So when the law is speaking, you zone out. You zone out and start to picture it like you're in a Harry Potter movie. I trying to visualize it. So when somebody say you're cloaked in the presumptions of innocence, just picture yourself standing in the center of a square, and somebody put on a cloak so nobody can see you, and you're just clear and pure. The constitution gives you that. So when everybody coming on you and say yes, and him do it and them do it, they can't strip that cloak off of you unless the burden is met by the prosecution.
I know you said that a retrial, at least in your mind, is next to impossible. But if it does happen, how prepared are you? Do you have the mindset for, if a retrial should actually take place?
Yeah, well, me say something fix everybody. Listen. You just play that whole album, but I'm born for this. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what, and then you become the bad guy, or seen as a bad person. It's law, it's facts and law, not feelings, not emotions. And if we are all looking at the same law, you will appreciate why I said it's not a possibility.
According to your
people, if you want to see the entire interview, you can just head over to the Fix. People, that's actually it. So leave your thoughts and opinion in the comment section. Tell me what y'all think about this in the comment section below. And as usual, I'll see you guys in the next video.